everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our next Interpreter Conversation series. Today, I'm joined by Anwar. Hi, Anwar. How are you doing?
Hi, Tatiana, I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you so much for joining us. Anwar comes from a vast experience of working within the corporate philanthropic space, supporting low-income residents within economic opportunities. Anwar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Anwar, can you just tell us a little bit more about your journey and what led you to volunteering with Safe Passage Project?
Of course, yes, happy to. I grew up, I was born and raised in Mexico, and as someone who came to this country when I was younger, I went through I had everyone's experience is different, but I went through, I think, what a lot of people experience when immigrating to this country, a lot of different immigration hoops to jump around. I had every kind of visa under the sun that you can imagine. I went through all kinds of different applications and questionnaires, and ultimately, today I find myself with a green card. And as I went through that process, it was eye-opening to me that how much resources, how much people on your side can make a difference in creating opportunity for me to stay in this country and to thrive in this country. And when I learned about the services that Safe Passage offers and the opportunity to give back and be able to support other people's journey, however more difficult it may be, um, I jumped at the opportunity to do so. As and so through over the years, working with Safe Passage and the project that you guys have, being able to work with all kinds of different families, individuals that are going through this through the difficult journey that immigration into this country can be. It's been immensely rewarding, and immensely gratifying to be able to see other people realize their journey as well.
That is amazing. Anwar, as I tell all of our interpreters, I am super grateful to be on this call with you and just learning about a little bit about your journey and what led you to Safe Passage, how and that also aligns with your upbringing and also just personal experiences. As you may be aware, a lot of our young people have experienced the same journeys as well. So just to have you connected to that world, we are immensely grateful. So thank you for all of the work that you do with us. We're so happy to have you with us. Um,
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
of course, of course. And just in your journey, you said that you've been with us for quite some time, so you have a wealth of knowledge and experience. Would you mind sharing some of maybe those impactful moments that you had while being here and volunteering with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So over the years, the I guess I'll start by saying the most impactful moments are always when you get to work long term on a case and you get to see it to come to fruition and you get to hear from that lawyer or that person you're working with, and they give you the update of, hey, we had the case, we had the court date, everything went well, everything went as planned, and we're on track to get these individuals the working papers they need or the ability to stay here. That makes it all worth it. And I think also, I mean, and I would say even beyond that, just meeting people that have a different journey, but are very much coming from the same place and have the same aspirations and the same goals and desire. It's really easy to relate to them, however different that journey into this country might be, because we're coming here for a lot of the same things with the same desires. We also have the shared experiences of leaving, difficult things behind, but also leaving things that we love behind and our culture and our countries. And so it's immensely just it's hard as a person not to really empathize and build an emotional connection with the people you're working with, and to be enriched by their experience, and live through it as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Oftentimes, when I ask that question, I hear so many different experiences, and I love how you're able to share like what are the things that have impacted you while volunteering with us. So thank you for sharing that. Now, just thinking about like being able to have sit inside of those impactful moments and also knowing that when you came here or started your volunteer journey with us, you were thinking how can I be supported better? Maybe, right? I'm wondering if there's any advice that you could provide that for someone that may be interested in doing this work as well. What are some things that have worked for you as you started off?
Yeah. There was definitely a learning curve when I first started doing this work because you, as much as you can mentally try to prepare to hear different, difficult stories, and experiences that essentially the people you're working are being asked to relieve. They're being told to tell the story over and over again, and with an enormous amount of specificity and detail. And these are ultimately difficult experiences that the individuals we're working with have gone through. And so going back to this point of the learning curve, as much as you want to mentally prepare for it, it is hard. It is hard not to get emotional about it, to get invested in it. And you ultimately have to remain professional, have to remain, you know, focused on the task at hand. Um, and so I think that I wish, looking back on it, I just wish I had been more prepared for that. And so being able to pass that knowledge on to someone else and to be able to say to someone, you are going to hear difficult things, and it is okay to become emotional, invested in those stories. And ultimately, that can, in some ways, empower you to do a better job because you are focused on making sure that you're getting the right information, you're capturing things the right way, you are translating both literally, but also metaphorically, you're translating the story in a way that makes sense for what we're trying to accomplish here. Um, so, those things actually can help do a better job rather than detract from what I'm trying to do as an interpreter. So I just wish I had known that. And so to pass that on, I think is helpful. Ultimately, the 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 job at hand is not is in, is made better by buying into what the people what you're working on, what the mission of the project is, um, and those two things can coexist.
Yeah. And a lot of what I heard is the getting support early on is really conducive for the work that you're about to prepare yourself both mentally and physically, right? Because you're going to be receiving a lot of hard information that we don't hear day to day.
Yeah.
That in itself can be difficult, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. Thank you for you're putting everything I said into much better terms,
no,
Tatiana. So
no,
thank
no.
you.
You named it well. I also like to receive it in a way where I'm like, this is what I'm hearing. So that in itself is actually really helpful advice, and thank you for sharing that. Now that you've been inside of the work, right? You knew that early on. You wish that you were able to prepare better. What are some things that now that you've been inside of it, you can offer as advice to anyone that's coming on that is working with someone has experienced trauma.
I think now going back to again that learning curve when I first started. I think I was so mindful of taking in these emotional conversations that I almost defaulted too far into trying to remain, objective and unmoved by these things and not showing that empathy. That I've now gotten to a much better place where I understand that it is okay to demonstrate that empathy. It is okay to demonstrate that these are difficult conversations and that you're still going to do your job, objectively interpret, translate things, get the lawyers the information that they really need. But so I think just again going back to that point of that it is okay to be emotionally impacted by these conversations.
Mhm.
That's not going to get in the way of what we're trying to accomplish. Up to a point, there's still a task that we have to focus at hand, and ultimately it is that person's very difficult story that you're taking in. But again, there is a balance that can be struck, and can be struck, excuse me. And then the other thing I would say is that it is okay to seek support. It is okay to say, hey, I know that this is not my story, but it is still impacting me. And so that's a very fair reaction to have to something difficult like that. It's not it's not useful to anyone to minimize the impact that it may have on you to be dealing with someone else's emotional trauma.
I I'm absolutely loving the responses, this conversation in itself. Some of the things again that I'm hearing is leading with empathy, right? And yes, you can be objective in this space, but it's still a human experience. You're still talking with a child, a young person, someone that is experiencing all of these things for the first time. And oftentimes, as adults, we separate ourselves from that. So that's
Yeah.
amazing, and that's also
Yeah.
something that I've heard across the board from our other interpreters as well. Is having to be in a space where you're leading with empathy. You also named something that's really important and insightful as well, because it does impact you as a person. And we're going to get into that as well. How do you, and I love the transition, you did that, you made it very easy for me
Good.
to ask the next question in reference to how are you taking care of yourself and self practice? Like what are some ways of mindfulness that you have developed while volunteering with us?
So it's been, yeah, I mean, over the years I've learned to, again, not shy away from feeling these things through the project. One is because you, on the one hand, I'm hearing stories again that are very difficult, and you're hearing about someone else's hard emotional experiences, and then it also brings back things that you may yourself might have experienced. That I myself, as someone who has gone through my own immigration journey and with its
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs. So I try to give myself enough room to feel those emotions, provide outlets for them. I have my own um, therapeutic journey with my own, with my mental health specialist, etc. And but most importantly, I think to me has always been just making sure that I'm giving myself that emotional outlet, and not shying away from the fact that these things are impactful from an emotional standpoint. Um, and making sure that I recognize that and not minimize that within myself.
Yeah. I am I always say I'm gonna say I'm grateful again, but I really am. It's just being able to sit inside this conversation and listen to your experience, and then also know that you saw growth in yourself as well. And that's also something that we see in our young people as we support them as they're navigating their green card journey, right? So you're able to sit on and support with multiple cases and navigate these different conversations and also still grow as a person and also see them grow as well. And that's a beautiful experience. So thank you so much, Anwar, for just having this, creating space, one, sharing your time and capacity with our young people, and also just continuing to take on cases. We are we are always happy that you are ready to take on another case, like many of our other interpreters. So thank you so much for taking the time to do that, and also just having this conversation with me. I hope that the words that were shared today are helpful for anyone that is interested in volunteering a Safe Passage project or just getting involved in some capacity with supporting someone that is moving through difficult conversations or difficult times rather. So with that being said, Anwar, thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today, or with another young person that may be interested in doing volunteer work?
Well, I guess two things I would say, Tatiana, I know you've mentioned being grateful, but truly it's the other way. I'm so grateful to the organization. I'm grateful for the work you do, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that you have given me to give back, to create a sense of mission and to feel like I can, support someone else's journey in the way that I've been supported. Because I would not be here without that support. So I'm grateful to you for giving me the space and opportunity to do so. And as you mentioned, it's been a huge learning and growth journey for me as well to be able to work with the amazing team you have, with the wonderful people that are going through very difficult things. And so it's really me who's then thankful. Um, and I would say, for anyone who's interested, again, it's difficult work at times, but it's hugely rewarding. It's hugely impactful. Like, you can really make a difference in someone's life. And you get to work with great lawyers, a great team. So it's really, if you're looking for something that will make you feel like you're making a difference, I can't think of a better opportunity to do so.
Well, there you have it, everyone. Sign up to become an interpreter with us. Thank you so much, Anwar. It was such a pleasure. And we will see you in the next conversation. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Tatiana. You as
You're
well.
welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.